and welcome to National 5 English. Today we're going to look at link questions. Your learning intentions are to be able to develop your understanding of what a link question is and develop a strategy to successfully answer this question type, as well as being able to understand a writer's line of thought and being able to identify the main ideas of a paragraph. A link question tests your ability to follow the writer's line of thought and recognise how they're linking their paragraphs together, allowing them to build on their ideas and effectively convey their points. The question asks you to show how one sentence connects two different paragraphs or separate ideas. You should look out for signal words such as but, however, and yet, as these signal changes, as well as words such as also, furthermore, and in addition, which can be used to build on and continue a line of thought. The strategy for this question is always the same. You are following 4 simple steps. First, you quote the small part of the sentence that links back to the previous paragraph or idea and say what it links back to. Then you quote the small part of the sentence that links forward and say what new idea it introduces. Let's have a look at a sample question now. Your question is, how does the sentence, of course it wasn't all just polyester, fashion and frivolity, act as a link? So we have to read both paragraphs to be able to work out what the main ideas are, and then we're going to use our 4-step strategy. So, big frizzy hair, multicoloured shell suits and overly loved parachute pants were all the rage. It was cool to wear a boombox perched precariously over your shoulder and carry it about as if it didn't weigh a ton. It was the golden age when Hollywood squandered millions on remakes of cheesy 60s sitcoms. It was the decade where Warren Beatty shocked us all by settling down with Annette Bening, and dressing like the Fresh Prince was not only accepted but openly encouraged. The 90s, the second golden era of the 20th century. Of course, it wasn't all just polyester, fashion and frivolity, because a number of important things happened in the 90s. In actual fact, the 90s brought the dawning of a new age of political discourse and development, as well as advances in technology that 10 years before would have been thought impossible. The 90s was a little recognised renaissance. This was the age of the birth of the internet and the creation of the mobile phone. And no matter how much we laugh at dial-up now and mock mobiles that were 3 tons heavy and had aerials the same length as your arm, we have to admit that they triggered a chain reaction of technology that we now couldn't live without. So your job is to show how the sentence in bold acts as a link in between the top paragraph and the rest of the second paragraph. So to begin, I'm going to ask myself, well, what is the top paragraph all about? Well, it's about what the 90s looked like in terms of fashion, because look, I have shell suits, I've got parachute pants, wearing and carrying around a boombox, dressing like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. And then I'm going to look at the second paragraph and I'm going to work out what this is about. Well, this is all about how the 90s triggered a chain reaction in terms of technology. So it talks here about the birth of the internet, the mobile phone. So now that I've worked out the idea of both paragraphs, I'm now looking for words that connect that. Of course, it wasn't all just polyester, fashion and frivolity. Okay, polyester, fashion and frivolity is my link back, because here it's all quite light-hearted and it talks about fashion. It also mentions shell suits and they typically are made of polyester. So polyester, fashion and frivolity is my link back to the previous paragraph about fashion and style in the 90s. My link forward has to be then a number of important things happened in the 90s, because this links forward and introduces the idea that this gave birth to the internet and the mobile phone. So these are quite important things. I'm going to structure my answer just like that. So, my link back, polyester fashion and frivolity links back to the paragraph before when the writer discusses the outrageous fashion of the time, i.e. shell suits and parachute pants. Now you can quote if you want to, but it is not essential. Important things happened in the 90s links forward to what is developed as the writer then goes on to discuss the important political discourse and development. An answer like this, set out in bullet points, that has your quote that links back, and I've said what it links back to, and your quote that links forward, and I've said what it introduces, would get 2 marks. This is the one that I would like you to try on your own, perhaps in your jotter or on lined paper. Musical theatre had long been consigned to the back burners of history. It was not cool, it was not hip, and it was only liked by a selective group of people. The older generation will tell you that they love musicals. Just look at the Queen, whose favourite song up until this day is People Will Say We're in Love from Roger and Hammerstein's Oklahoma. It hardly makes it look cool. Musical theatre may well be a historically old person's pastime, but it has found a much newer audience with the emergence of the likes of Glee and the multi-million production of Les Miserables. Young people are becoming far more involved in acting, singing and dancing than their punky counterparts of the 70s or their yuppie equivalents in the 80s. And even better than this, they are attending the theatre. They are going in their droves to see the Book of Mormon and queuing up to view Harry Hill's new I Can't Sing. Your question is, how does this sentence, musical theatre may well be a historically old person's pastime, but it has found a much new audience, act as a linking sentence? So I want you in your jotter or on lined paper to lay out your answer using the 4 steps discussed on the previous slide. I want you to quote the little bit of that sentence that links back to the first paragraph, say what it introduces, and quote the little bit of this sentence that links forward, introducing the rest of the second paragraph, and say what idea it is introducing or developing.